Bring the gun up. Hey folks, Manny CA here, hopefully with another informative and entertaining video on firearm shooting, reloading, and repair. Recently there have been some rumblings in the cast bullet community and the powder coating community in general about powder coating deteriorating when it's touching or comes into contact with certain pistol powders for long periods of time. So, of course, we're not content to sit on our laurels. We went out, dug up some info. We had a hypothesis. We put our hypothesis to the test. We conducted our study, and now we've got the information. Very interesting indeed. Seems that a lot of powder contains a high content of nitroglycerin. Okay? Now, nitroglycerin, what that does is it aids in cleaner burning powder. I'm not a chemist. I'm not any kind of technical guru when it comes to that. I'm just an enthusiast, shooter, curious guy, like most of you. Curious as to what's going on, what's happening, and we want to keep our shooting sport safe. So we went out and we did our own research. So it seems that the high content of nitroglycerin in some of these powders does indeed attack our bullets, the powder coating of our bullets. Now, if you guys have ever used one of those plastic powder dispensers, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's an older RCBS, those plastic powder hoppers, and if you've left like tight group in this thing overnight, or maybe a couple of days as you're doing an extended loading session, you've come back to find out that the inside is ruined. Yes, indeed. The high nitroglycerin content of tight group really attacks plastic with a vengeance. So that's one thing you hear around the loading circles is don't leave your powder hopper loaded with any powder for any extended period of time, because you never know what's going to happen when you come back. It'd be a mess, and it's not worth it. I mean, the powder hoppers are worth, you shell out some serious cash for some decent powder hopper. Why do you want to destroy it? On the other end, you're looking at like clays. You guys have used clays. That's like a really popular shotgun powder that's used for pistols. A lot of 9, a lot of 45. Heck, anything that's you want to do light charges. Clays are great. Clays is what's known as a single base powder, and it looks like they contain 0% nitroglycerin. I went in, I looked at the MSDS, the material safety data sheets on a lot of these powders. I don't have a lot of the powders, but what I did have, we did our testing with. Let's start off with Bullseye, very popular powder. So, what we did is here's our test, our control subjects, and these are our test subjects. And you kind of can see the difference. Now, Bullseye, pardon the scribbling, let me get this up to you guys. These sat for 1 month. Here's Bullseye, and you can see that we've got two different types of powders here. The red is Harbor Freight Red. See how glossy that is? Okay. This one was an off-brand that I got at a professional powder coater shop locally, and you can see the difference. And what Bullseye did, shiny glossy on the original, and it kind of just ate it away. You see that? Let's get a close-up. You guys take a look at that. You can see what's happening. Plus the powder's sticking to it. And the powder has a tacky feel. So it's decomposing, breaking down. The nitroglycerin does not like the plasticizers, plastics, whatever you want to call it, contained in the coating. Plus, we're going to do a little scratch test so you can see. And it's starting to get gummy. Okay? Let's get a close-up on there. Houston, you getting this? Why do I sound like Emeril Lagasse? Alright, we'll quit with the Emeril. Everyone's a comedian, right? Anyway, check that out. We're scratching this off where before it wouldn't come off. So that is not acceptable. Not acceptable whatsoever. And that's on the orange powder coat. And you can see how nice and shiny, that's how they started with. And this is what it ended with the Bullseye. And Bullseye has a high nitroglycerin content. Along with Power Pistol, Tight Group. Those are some of the other ones just to mention that you guys might be loading up. So this is the Harbor Freight Red, and you can see with the Harbor Freight Red, it feels tacky. And you can see it's holding the powder onto it tacky. And yeah, you see that? The powder coat comes off. Pretty simple. So that's Bullseye. Next, what we've got up is, I've had a canister powder, which was, I got years ago. Anyway, it was compared to Unique. They told us to load it like Unique. And you can see how it's it's breaking down also. It's sticking to the bullets. See that? It's almost like static electricity, but it's not. It's the powder breaking down, releasing some of the chemicals in it, and it's just getting tacky. Now it was called International Pistol Powder, IPP. Same thing, here's and you can see the color difference. Okay? You get a couple more so you can see the color difference. It's turning a lighter color, which looks like the plastics are breaking down. It's a little tacky. It's not as tacky or gummy as the Bullseye, but you can feel it. It's still there. Now this powder might not be a common powder, but it's something I had in hand, and I thought I'd use it just because it's a high nitroglycerin based product. I use this for a lot of stuff, a lot of loads. So it's something I wanted to make sure. Next we'll come up with, this is Unique. Alright, something that's very disconcerting. A lot of guys use Unique. A lot of guys love Unique for rifle and pistol loads. It's real versatile. The Harbor Freight Red doesn't seem to be affected by it. It feels glossy. It feels good. It feels just like the original one, but you can see the color is starting to change also. So the Unique is definitely having an effect on it. Plus, look at the gloss. The gloss is gone. In my eyes, it looks like it's gone. Kinda. Just a little bit off. Well, maybe not. But it does feel a little bit tacky. You got smooth, tacky. And that's with the Unique. So you guys take a look at it. Even though there's no clumping, there's no nothing to it. It just looks like just a wee bit tacky. And then we come up to the one I thought was a shocker. Here's Red Dot. You can see how it looks. You see that oily remnants on the bottom of the tray here? That's from the interaction between the powder and the powder coat. And it's very sticky. There's a residual, you can see it on my finger. See the shininess? It's a mess. And so these that I've loaded for my Nagant, these were all loaded with Red Dot, and you can see what's happening, how it's clumping to the base of the bullet. So we have to worry about the powder going bad at the base of the bullet. You can see the results on this. the pictures will speak for themselves. And there was something, you see that? How that kind of just, yeah, that's wrong. The label just sucked up whatever chemical was breaking down. And again, you can see, and it's kind of odd because the color, they're still glossy. They still got a glossy color to it. But, and it's not tacky. It's just wet. This oily substance is being given off as the powder is breaking down. So we went out, we did the research, we saw what was happening, and we reported to you guys. Something to think about if you guys decide to load up these powders with your cast bullets. We've got some nice 500 grain, or these are 440 grain for the 500 Wing Smith & Wesson. We loaded up and we powder coated. And we're going to have to keep an eye on what kind of powder we're going to be using for these. Will that have effect on the powder? Well, it may contaminate the powder. You see what's happening with the Unique. These rounds were loaded. Let's see when we loaded these. These were loaded about 6 months ago. So, and these were shot. These are what were left from our last range visit. I want to say I'm hoping that the content is not going to be that bad. I hope the contamination of the powder is not going to be that bad. The powder sounds like it's still shaking around. It's still kind of fluid in there. It doesn't look like what this was. Remember these, I tossed them in a Ziploc bag and just tossed them in there. So they had full contact for about a month. These, they still sound like they're loose. Powder still sounds loose in there. Another thing you want to think about is remember that the size of the bullet is what you really need to worry about when you're getting this powder coat on here, because the base of the bullet doesn't really prevent leading. What happens is when you have the powder coat on here, the bullet gets shot, the powder pushes against the bullet, the base of the bullet, but then you get powder that cuts around. It's called gas cutting, where the powder cuts around here, melts this part of the bullet off and deposits it on the inside of your barrel. As long as this, the outside is fine, and what I mean by that is it's sitting on the inside of the neck of the case or whatever cartridge you have, there's no contact with the powder. Your base is the only thing that's going to go soft. So your bullet should still be fine, but I'd be worried about the contamination of the rest of the powder in the case. So when we get some range time, we're going to go out, we're going to shoot these, and then we're going to come back and we'll do another video and we'll report and tell you guys what happened, if we had any failures of fire, any kind of hang fires. We got to throw all this brass, beautiful brass. This is all the Pua brass that we picked up years ago for a song when they had it. It's mixed brass. We got some Lapua, we got some PPU, all good brass from the Nagant. I'm going to think about storing these upright like this, even though I don't think it's really going to have an effect because they've already been stored bullet down for such a long time. You guys get out there, do your shooting. You can never have a bad day at the range. Oh, and one more thing while we're on the topic of powder coated bullets. Guys that send me emails telling me that they're getting some kind of fouling in their bore, fouling from their powder coating. Just use some acetone, guys. Acetone, put it on the jag of your jag on the end of your cleaning rod. Run it through there a couple times. It'll come right out and you're good to go. Easier than cleaning copper jacketed fouling. As always, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, send them on down the bottom. Until next time.